Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz, back with another dose of tanking affection. Today we're going to be looking at the medium game. We're going to be talking mediums, and we're going to be talking tactics and flanking, and not hit point trading, and reading a team list, and reading a map, and all those kind of things that people really, really need to know about. Especially if you've been driving in Tier 7 at the moment, because while I have nothing whatsoever against the Halloween event and the Dracula and Van Helsings, it is like a bunch of drunken, rabid sharks rolling around at Tier 7 with 6 Draculas in every game, doing their level best to be the first human to die before 6 minutes 30 hits the clock. I want to talk to you about a few things. This obviously is a patron-sponsored post. Patron are the reason that I exist in terms of YouTube, and the reason that there's a video on the channel every day. So if you ever consider sponsoring the channel, don't hold back. There is excellent sponsor-only videos. There's sponsor-only events. There's Discord and Telegram chat, and lots of other goodies and giggles. Now, what to talk about here? There's a massively underlooked part of mediums. Everyone carries on about this one's got the most DPM, and this one has the best armor, and this one's the fastest, and this one's the most mobile, and that's all well and good, and those things are all excellent. And one of the reasons why I'm driving the pattern is to illustrate that it's not really the most important thing. Having the best tank is not the be all and end all. You look at the map, okay, and what I want to talk to you about is looking at a map and taking whoever's on the opposite team and realizing where you've got to go on that map, why you have to go there, where they're likely to go, where your advantages are going to be, what kind of tanks can you ignore for the moment, and particularly you're going to see two of the Yamato Harbour games. One's in an M48A1 and one's in an Object 140, and they're two very, very different games because they're two obviously very, very different tanks. But they're both good examples of how you change your playstyle on a map to adjust to the kind of tanks you're going to be meeting and the kind of tank you're driving. Now, the pattern has a lot of gun depression, which is grand. It has more than the Object 140. It doesn't have as much as, say, a Leo 1 or any of those things, but it is a very, very nice tank. Now, this map, you're going to see they have no mediums outside of one T54. Now, that's important because they also have 3 TDs. Now, we've got 2 guys who are both going hill, and I've decided that they're probably going to take that hill. And there's an IS-7 with them. And if that's the case and they take the hill, then it's very, very important that we get this flank under control because they have a lot of big TDs and they're probably going to put a big TD on this corner. Now, that's very, very obvious. They're also doing a thing where they go and put a TD up on that section of the respawn there so they can shoot up through the center of the hill channel and help out the mediums. And that's why I stopped there and hit that waffle tractor. Now I'm pushing forward and I'm going to use this area here for cover. I'm not sniping at the back. The reason I'm doing this, the whole reason I'm doing this, is because I want our team to win. Now, as expected, we had the double medium advantage on the top, plus we had a very, very strong tank in an IS-7, and we took the hill. I'm expecting to find a TD up here, and I don't want them to be able to shoot straight across into the rest of our tanks. So there we go. There's that waffle tractor that I hit earlier, and unfortunately for him, he's now been hit twice, and we're going to get another one into him. We're using HE, and he's all done. Now we reset our camo here. So you've seen the standard call on mines is to go hill, and that's the correct call most of the time. But if you can get away with getting hill, and you see the T54 says, I can't escape this account even now. It's too bloody well known. But anyway, onwards and upwards. And that's allowed us to really control the flank, move up, clear out that waffle tractor that would have had great shots across into the area there. And now we can push around, and anyone who is down the bottom is going to be in trouble. But they've done the same thing. They've got a T54 who couldn't hold the hill, couldn't contest it, and has moved over there. Now, I probably make a mistake here. I don't push up early enough, but I didn't realize he was going to be so aggressive. A little bit too late. I realised this, and I'm pushing over there. I'm going to get there just in time for my good mate, the waffle tractor, to unfortunately be deceased. Still in all, we take out their T-54, and that's our only medium, and it's really killed the mobility of that team on the field. Now, what the big point of this is, you've got to make your assessments based on the enemy team, on the map you're playing, and the tank you're driving. There was absolutely no point just doing the one thing all the time. If you're inflexible and you only have one plan and you only have one point of contact in your mind, then you'll end up in situations where someone like me or someone who's a good player will, which doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a horrible player, but I'm certainly not one of the best players out there, can take advantage of your absolute inflexibility and put you in really bad positions. And that's more than anything else. The ability to increase your win rate is going to come from actually watching the map and making decisions that are based on good information and following through with them. Now, you won't always be correct, because one of the best parts about Blitz, and one of the reasons why it's such a fantastic game to play on a mobile device, is that people are just canny buggers, and they're unexplainably good at gumming up the works and going to places they're not expected to be. And newer players and players who don't really know how to play the game that well often are the biggest issues. The other reason why I did this video at Tier X is that Tier X is a tough tier to win at. It is chock full of really good players. You find a lot of blues in Tier X games that have good high win rates and good high average damages. Now, this is another case. Normally, you would push up to this corner in a medium, or you go the bridge, whatever you want to do. I'm becoming less and less circumspect in my open discontent with this map, but here we go. We're going to push very hard here. We have a 4-2 medium advantage. They've got an E100, a Jagdpanzer E100, an E75. They're very slow tanks who are probably going to hang around the bridge. That would mean the E5 and the IS-8 would have to have a quite aggressive approach to push up here. And they've only really got a Cent 7-1 and a 62A. We've got 4 mediums, and 3 of them have come out here, and 1 scouting low towards the bridge. I'm pushing until I get contact. There we go. There's a 62A and the 7-1. So we've pushed up to the corner, and we now own this corner. They're not here. They've really not held that corner at all, which is a big part of this map, and it's a really important part of this map. To give up this corner means that you're basically putting your whole team in that pocket down near the actual bridge area itself. And it's why I'm being really aggressive, because while we've pushed here very hard, the rest of our team should be under pressure now in the respawn area. And then they're not. The Reds just haven't pushed up hard enough on them. And we're going to get this 62A who realises he's in a terrible spot. We're going to get a great shot on him here with the M48A1. It's a very good gun. Like, the gun's very solid at firing on the move, and it's not a laser beam or a marksman or anything of that case at all, but I find it very, very solid for quick shots and firing on the move. Now, the Cent's been screwed. The SU-122 was incredibly aggressive there, but it meant that they had to move. And that's a really good move. So we've now got 4 out in the flank. We've still got 3 who haven't been pushed and hemmed and hawed in the respawn area, and the game is, for all intents and purposes, over. We've got way too many hit points left. I mean, they may be able to pull something out of the bag, and you never say never, because, you know, I've got a YouTube channel chock full of Kolomanovs and great fun times where you get your wins, but they've got the wrong tanks for it. They don't really have enough map control. They're in a corner. They've got shots coming from both flanks, and the reason is because we took that corner. We took it early. The team played really well. They all pushed up. We had 3 very, very aggressive mediums and 1 very, very aggressive SU-122-54, and they're in trouble. And this E5 can play. You can see here, he's not going to give me that shot. He's absolutely certain that he's not going to let me fire. So I wait until he gets one off, and then I take a shot. It's bouncing, but I'm pulling back. This is where you could lose it. If you went forward and absolutely YOLO'd, you could lose this. But there's plenty of time on the clock. You're driving a medium tank with gun depression, so you're looking for gun depression shots. When you can't get those, you're basically going to look for any kind of opportunity to isolate a tank. And that's what we're going to do here. You can see that E5's behind the rock. The E100's fired. I'm going to get shots on the E100. and the E5 is not going to be able to hit me unless he comes around there, which is all well and good, and he can do that. But then I'm just going to go on the other side of the rock. And I've isolated that E5, so I don't have to worry about him, despite the fact that he is right there next to the E100 and the Jagdpanzer E100. And you can see the Cent 7-1's in a little bit of strife now, but I think it's more important to actually get rid of these guys than it is to do anything else. And then we can go around and finish off the E5. And he will be, in no uncertain terms, done and dusted. And he didn't have a bad game, and he certainly wasn't a bad player. He just got on a streak called struggle. Because we took the flank, we beat their mediums, they didn't get enough support out wide, and we just worked them over nice and slow. And you can see this, again, there's a massive medium advantage here. We've got 2 tanks as an advantage, and they've got a China Red Dragon player in that 140 who I know to be worried about. But I'm going to tell my team, and I've looked at my team and I've seen as well that we've got 4 mediums, and that Spiny Luke, who I've seen in a few games, he'll follow me. I know that if I push hard, and I tell them I'm going to push and we're going to go left. Because if you're looking at Yamato Harbour and you know your maps, you know that the TDs and the heavies will spawn behind the town. If you push out here really hard, really early, you can get a 4-on-2 on these mediums here. You can wipe them and you might take a hit point loss, but you'll win on guns, and suddenly it will be 7 guns on 5. Also, really important here, have a look where I go behind this rock. This isolates the Object 140. It means he can't put shots on me without coming down here and aggressively going towards me, and that'll cross him over where that opening gap is between the 2 rocks there, and he'll be visible to everyone behind. And you can see now we've got 4 mediums in this area here now. On this 140, he is going to go down quick. We are 6 minutes in by the time we have cleared their medium flank, and the TDs at the back are only just getting into position. That's just reading the map, taking advantage of an obvious glaring difference in the teams, and getting it done quickly. But that can be really dangerous to do. And I'm going to show you another game in a tick from an M48A1 from the same spawn on Yamato Harbour, where the mediums are balanced and it's a different tank with different skill sets. The Object 140 has such huge DPM that if you can get 2 of them like you can there with Spiny Luke and myself and the rest of the mob coming in and doing the business, then you can just tap people down. And the speed of the 140 and the height of the 140 make it very, very easy for it to hide. Now this 183 can't get the gun down, and if he comes out, he is going to get torn up. And you see there, he didn't want to go all the way down, and there he goes. He gets hit from both of us, and it's game over. We've still got to finish off the waffle tractor, which we'll do now. We switch up to HE to use the waffle tractor, and they take a couple out. Spiny, who is exceptionally good at following me and helping to clear the path, gets done. He's got the long gun, the waffle, good on him. He's got the 128mm, the pack, and it's a great gun. It's very, very accurate and such, but I mean, he's not the most mobile tank, and yeah, he's always going to struggle against 140 that can be driven by anyone who has a bit of a clue. So are you seeing a common theme here, guys? You can look at a map and you realize that you have an advantage here, here, or here. And it's one of the reasons why medium tanks and light tanks in the hands of players who are more experienced, and that's the key here, the experience. The guys who've been there before, who know what's likely to happen with the enemy, who know the likely statistics that the tanks are about to face, the spawn points they're about to drop into. Those are things that you need to learn from experience. And when you do, you'll start realizing that there's advantages to certain maps, and advantages to certain spawns, and advantages to having more of a certain kind of tank on certain certain maps. Now this is an M48A1. We've got 3 mediums. The enemy has... We've got 4 mediums, sorry. The enemy has 3 mediums, but they have a big-ass Jagdpanzer E100, and an E100 is pushed across here. And I've not been aggressive at all because there was no clear-cut advantage to this. And their Leopard did a good job. He got a spot run at the front, at the very, very start there. Came across, spotted most of our medium flank and probably a couple of our heavies as well, and ducked back down behind that hill. And the battle lines have been set here, and they're really, really solid. This is where you have to realize that you're in a tank with good gun depression and a pretty strong turret, in fact. Our IS-7's pushed up very hard. I'm not trading away any hit points yet. What I want to do is find opportunities to get shots. So that means not being spotted. If that's not on there, that STB1 isn't going to come out. We could wait all day for that. I've got to find an opportunity to get shots. I'm just looking. There's no other targets on the map. And I'm not going to stick my head over the top of this hill because there are plenty of people on the other side of this hill who want to shoot it. So basically, we're just taking our time. And it's something that a lot of people don't do. You can be fast and hard and furious when you want to, when it's needed. But it's a mistake to be like that all the time. And here we go. We're going to get a gun depression shot here in this PTA and then back up. And there's no one else here who can really see me. And I've got a very strong turret. And we're going to dip the turret, shoot, and back down again really, really quickly. And then we're going to go down the side here and look for a shot in this YAG. We can't quite get it, but a shot will present itself at the back. We're not going to hang around there with a YAG Tiger. And we take a quick snapshot into the STB1. And we swap out because heat no longer goes through tracks very successfully. That's a good thing. And we track him. And we track him again. And then we track him and put one in through him. And we're just using gun depression. And if you're on a big hill like this and you've got lots of targets on the left, well, don't be on the left. Be on the right so they can't hit you. I mean, if you're a target to the people on the left. And if you know that YAG Panzer's down here and there's an IS-8 there and there's another one that you can't see over there on your left-hand side, then you can push down and isolate behind this rock here, which is what we're going to do. And we're going to get into this IS-8, and all we have to do now is stay away from that YAG E100 because we have lots of guns around here, you'll see. And we can then duel this good old E100 here, which we're going to do. We go for a track shot, miss the track shot. We're looking where the YAG E100 is. Do we have to side scrape? Do we have to side hug? We track him there. That's one, like, if I could recommend one skill to someone that just started the game, get used to shooting drive wheels. The drive wheels are the wheels at the very, very, very front of an E100 or any tank, actually, not just an E100, at the very, very front of the tracks that the track goes around and returns on. It's the small wheel at the front left or the front right. Shoot those wheels and you will get track shots, and most of the time you will also go through and do damage. Shooting them from an angle is where you want to do it. If you can't though and you have to track someone, just shoot them through that drive wheel area and you'll stop them. And as you saw then with that E100, it allowed me to go round because I could track him. I mean, you'll get used to this. Once you get into a medium and you get good at track shots like that, you'll be able to just stop enemy tanks. And if they don't have a repair kit, they're dead. And you'll learn these things where if you can isolate a big heavy on his own who doesn't have great traverse, you'll kill them without taking damage a lot of the time. And it's one of the reasons why good medium drivers make mediums look overpowered when you're a newer driver and you're in a big heavy tank and you think, well, I'm massive, surely no one's just going to be able to walk up to me and punch my lights out. And in fact, a good medium driver will go around you and you will never get the opportunity. Like you see a stock ST1 and your eyes light up because they'll never get a hold of you. It's just one of the things in the game that you've got to learn to adjust for. That E100, if he had stayed next to a rock, would have been much better off because I wouldn't have been able to get behind him, and he had a rock right there and all he had to do was come out at a very, very acute angle and I wouldn't have had shots on him. I wouldn't have been able to push around that flank, and I certainly wouldn't have been able to go down that hill comfortably like that IS-8. He did the same kind of thing. He just pushed out in the open where two people could get shots on him. And you saw a lot of the time in those videos, I was in positions where people could get shots on me, but it was just the one tank. And I like to say it's isolating that tank. It's putting that tank in a position where only he and I are in a combat situation, and there might be 5 other tanks within 100 meters of him, but none of them can see me, so they're combat ineffective. I don't really have to worry about them. And then you get the time constraints. As long as I kill him within 20 seconds before the other guys get, and that's when you get the bad bounce and you die anyway. And that's one of the parts of the game, and it's all down to that kind of thing. And I think that's one of the reasons the game's so enjoyable, is you can take situations and think your way through them. And the best medium drivers I come across are not guys that go a million miles an hour and kill everyone in front of them. It just doesn't happen like that. People like that tend to think they're very good and die very, very quickly. You only go flat out when there's an advantage to going flat out. Most of the time, if you're in a public game, the best bet you can have is get flank shots, move to the flanks, use gun depression, use camo, use terrain, and exploit it like that, and you'll be a lot better off for it. And it's one of the reasons why you see a lot of people who struggle in medium tanks off the bat. They just say the tank sucks, and it's very, very rarely that the tank sucks. It's just usually that the driver's not used to taking advantage of what the tank has to offer. So I'm Bushka Blitz. Thank you very, very much for watching. Enjoy yourselves. Look after yourselves. Have a great old time out there in the world. If you'd like to sponsor and become a patron, please do. There's lots and lots of stuff going on. We have a tier 4 patron only tournament that's coming up that will be very cool. I hope you enjoy it. And if you are a patron, that is, it's going to be on the NA server. So until next time, look after your family and stay safe on the battlefield.